about me. This is all about you. So we're keeping it personal. We're keeping it personal.
Welcome to another episode of Keeping It Personal with your host Manny Guerra. Real people and real talk with no bullshit. Let's join Manny in a personal discussion with Mr. Jason Hamilton from Worcester, Mass.
We are rolling. Sitting here with my good friend Jason Hamilton. We've become good friends over the last, a few months?
Since
the summer.
Summer.
So,
I think we went to Green Hill Park.
what did we do at Green Hill Park?
Your son had a car show.
Oh, yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a good time.
That was a good time. So, I invited my good friend Jason onto the show so we can talk about his experience becoming someone with a disability, and he has an extraordinary story. I look up to this guy and I learned a lot from this dude. If you see us running around in the streets and you say, who's this dude hanging around with Manny? This is who he is, and you're about to find out more about him. So Jay, where were you born?
Worcester, Mass.
You were born here in Worcester?
Yeah.
Born and raised there?
Born and raised.
Wow. In what parts?
Grafton Hill, Wall Street.
I used to live up Grafton Hill.
Massasoit Road.
Mm.
Grafton Hill.
Oh yeah? Anybody in particular that you used to hang out with?
Mainly my brother's friends.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I was always the youngest, so I kind of did a little following around.
Okay, you had an older brother?
Yeah.
Alright. And why don't you tell me a little bit about before your accident? How was your life?
It was good. I enjoyed playing basketball. Just being a little shit, actually.
Yeah.
That too.
How?
Just being a kid. Just doing everyday stuff.
Living life.
Living life.
Alright, what happened?
Went out drinking with a couple friends, and they went home. I stayed out. Got dropped off at home, and just took my bike out unknowingly and got into an accident.
Your bike, a motorcycle?
Yeah, a dirt bike.
A dirt bike. And well, you took it
Well, I
out?
wouldn't say unknowingly, but
Yeah.
I was drunk.
Driving your dirt bike up the street?
Yeah. All in my own neighborhood.
Around Grafton area?
Massasoit Road, Blythewood, about 2 a.m. Riding.
Mm-hmm.
Just riding up and down the streets.
For no reason?
No reason. Stupidity. I was coming while I was riding around this neighborhood, I came out of a side street, and instead of turning onto this main road, I went straight across and into a wall.
Straight into a wall?
Yeah.
Wow. That must have hurt a little bit.
Luckily, I don't remember.
I can relate. Similar situations, but take me from that point on. What happened once you woke up in the hospital?
When I woke up, I really didn't understand I just knew I was in the hospital, but because I didn't feel the impact of the accident or anything.
Yep.
I was just like, from that moment till when I start remembering, I don't remember, so I didn't feel anything, like going from being paralyzed and walking to not being able to walk,
Mm-hmm.
I just woke up and had to kind of figure it out as time went on, because I still had I had a broken arm as well and 2 collapsed lungs.
Wow.
So I had other things I was thinking about, and I was just laying there, and then my legs started to feel like they were twisted.
Mm-hmm.
And I would keep asking the nurse to straighten them, and he'd say they were already straight. But then I kind of figured it out the more I kept happening to me. And then they finally told me that I was paralyzed.
After a bit.
Yeah, it was a week, I would say.
How did that make you feel once you found that out?
Before I found out, when I was in ICA, I was on this bed that tilted side to side, and I was tilted one side, and the guy in the bed next to me was also in an accident. He had all tubes and everything coming out of him.
Okay.
And he ended up going into cardiac arrest. And I couldn't turn away because I was on a bed locked in that position, staring at the guy. And he went into cardiac arrest, and all the doctors and nurses came in, and they were working on him for 45 minutes. And he ended up passing away, sadly. But I said to myself, no matter how bad off I am, I'm not this guy that just died in front of me. So when they told me, I took it like, all right, I'm still alive. You know, I'll just move on. Just have to learn how to live again. I never tried to feel sorry for myself because I knew there was always somebody worse. And like when I went to rehab, everybody that had a spinal cord injury, they were in the neck, and I'm in my back. So just the simple vertebrae makes a world of difference in spinal cord injuries. Because that could tell whether you could breathe on your own or not breathe on your own, have to have a machine. You know, so there's people that have it much worse than each of us think we got it.
Are you talking centimeters of distance between these nerves?
Yeah, it's just the littlest thing. And the way it's injured as well. You know, it could be like just bruised, like punched, and it could heal that way.
Yep.
But like if it's cut, like with a knife, then it's harder to heal back.
Now, did you have any? You didn't have any feeling at all in your lower body?
No. And it was actually up to like my nipple area.
Yeah.
But over the next 2 years, I regained a little bit. They say like within the first 2 years, whatever you regain, that's what you'll get back. And my kind of injury to my spinal cord, because I was completely cut in half. Mine wasn't damaged, bruised,
or fractured.
Yeah. It's like take a loaf of bread and you cut a piece of bread off. That's my spinal cord.
And so what kind of things did you have to do in rehab?
Basically learn how to get dressed, get up actually, get off the bed, get out of bed. Because you don't realize the muscles you need to use in order to just sit up. Or like the simplest things. And you know how to do it in your mind the way you've been doing it all those years. But now you can't do that way. You have to learn how to do it from scratch.
Right.
A different way. Still knowing that part is in your head.
It's tough. It's tough to accept.
Yeah. But you look at other things around, and like I was kind of lucky in a way where I was younger, and my life really hadn't started yet. So I was only 19, just out of high school. So I kind of had a chance to start early again rather than later in life. You know, with already having like children, a life, a family.
Right.
You know. So it was kind of a little easier that way to look at, to deal with.
And now, you have family at the time?
brother and sister and mother.
And how supportive were they?
They were there. They was very supportive.
Good. Good, because you need family
Definitely.
to get through something like that.
Definitely.
So then, what happened after that, Jason?
Just, I heard about this program that was going on at UMass, where they would train 3 disabled people, and a part of whatever UMass did, whether it be being a receptionist when you come in and check in for your doctor's appointment,
Right.
a pharmacist assistant, or 911 emergency dispatcher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I signed up for that and got it.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was fun. It gave me purpose.
Really? Yeah. It
Uh,
must have felt good, huh?
yeah, it did.
Yeah.
I got to train with Worcester EMS for a full year. And if the training went well and they thought I could do the job, they had a choice of hiring me, or they could just let me go and I can go and see if somebody else would want to hire me.
That's it.
And they ended up hiring me.
So what did you do during the training? Just a little
I
example.
received 911 emergency medical calls
Okay.
and then dispatched an ambulance to the place.
Wow. That's hot. That's awesome.
It was fun because it gave you an aspect of the way city life was going. Yeah, but it felt good knowing that you were able to help some people.
Right. Right. Even in the position that you were in.
And the funny thing is, the people that I was working for, they were actually the ones that were pick me up the night of my accident.
Wow. And they remembered you?
They remembered the call. They didn't remember who went.
Right.
I worked with them for about 2 years, and then I developed skin breakdown, and I couldn't put in the amount of hours they needed me to do. I needed to go into the hospital, and when I got into the hospital, I ended up losing one of my legs.
Sure.
When they went in to close the wound from my accident, I broke my femur, my long bone in my thigh, and they put a rod in it instead of putting a cast, because if they put a cast, I could have got breakdown from not being able to feel
I see.
my leg in the cast. And when they took that rod out, about a foot of my femur came out with it.
Oof.
So they had to stop the surgery, and when they woke me up, they had to get my permission to take my leg.
They hook you up to get permission to take your leg.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I had to get, because,
On the spot.
yeah, well, they had to redo the surgery.
Okay.
They couldn't let me just not give them permission to take my
I
leg.
understand. So they rescheduled it.
And I had to go and have another surgery, and then they finally took my leg,
Your left leg.
my left leg, and part of my pelvis. They did what's called a hemipelvectomy.
Okay. A hemipelvectomy?
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess that's when they take a leg and part of the hip socket as well.
I see. Oh, they had to go up that high?
That's where all the infection was, all the infected bone. And part of the infection got into my right bone, but they were able to stop it in time. And they tried to save it for about 4 years with the VAC machine.
Yep.
You're familiar with that?
I sure am.
They had that in it, and finally it just wasn't going to happen, and I just said take it. And
that's that.
that was in 2004. But in that time, I was still able to like ride a jet ski and stuff like that.
You rode a jet ski?
Yeah. Because my
One leg?
mom had, we had a house on Lake Quincy.
Here in Worcester?
No, in Shrewsbury.
Shrewsbury.
On
area.
Fifth Ave.
Okay.
And we had she had a jet ski and a boat, a pontoon boat. And I would ride those.
So, tell me, how did you get on the jet ski?
I would have somebody lift me up and
Yeah.
put me on. And then I'd just straddle it and go.
There you go.
As long as I was able to balance on one leg, I was good to go.
Wow. That's amazing. I want to get on a jet ski.
It was fun.
Mhm.
The only thing I had to worry about was not being able to squeeze with my
Right.
thighs.
Right. So you couldn't really, but you were on it.
I don't know. It was fun.
And you said you've been fishing before, right?
Yeah, I've been fishing up
Okay.
in Kennebec River.
Now you've been where?
Kennebec River,
Where's that?
up in Maine.
Okay. Oh, you've been fishing like deep sea fishing,
River fishing.
river fishing.
And went fishing in 2011.
That's cool. I remember you showed me a picture.
Yeah. And I went fishing with my legs too up there in 1994.
Okay.
A friend of mine, Russell Troy.
hmm So, as far as your psyche, going through all of this, can you talk to me a little bit about how you feeling and what was going through your head?
Kind of felt guilty because I kind of put my mother through hell in a way, even though I didn't hurt anybody physically, hurting somebody mentally hurts a bit more.
Yeah, and emotionally, yeah.
And especially your mother,
Mm-hmm.
it's tough to deal with.
I put her in a position where she had to take care of you.
Yeah. And you think about that,
Situations like this bring you closer together to some people.
it gives people a chance to show who they really are. It's not all everybody else either, it's me too,
Yeah.
I tend to have my days and to take it out on people.
So let's talk about how stubborn and how just rigid you are, right? So we first meet, right? And you're honest. You're like, oh, I'm too nice, and you're like the extreme, right? So what do we went to Polo Park?
Yeah.
Right, and the crowd was just walking all over us and stuff, and I'm over here trying to get through the crowd, like, excuse me, and what you do?
You have to go through, man. You gotta go through.
You run over people's toes and stuff.
They'll move.
I had to go right behind you, though. That was awesome.
No, after 32 years of, especially being in a manual wheelchair,
Yeah, that's right, you were in the middle.
is frustrating. Having people just keep standing there and they go on. And there's some people in the crowd too, when there's a circle going on and they're talking to each other, and one person looks down at you and then continues to talk in the fucking conversation. That's when I lose it. I just lose it, man. Don't get me started, man.
Jay, I've seen you lose it, man. But you know what?
Oh, man. You gotta, man.
Well, what I tell you, first, hit them with the kindness, excuse me. And then if they act like a jerk, then you do what you gotta do, bro.
I know, but I've been down that road a long
I
time.
know. But you're rubbing off on me.
You're young. I'm trying to teach you.
I'm learning.
I'm trying to have you skip over that agony.
I know, and you know what I said the other day? Stop being nice.
You gotta, man. It's like they're not gonna do it for you.
Yeah.
But I don't mean to, like, I look for kind of like weave in between people.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily And if people move out of the way in the meantime, then that's kind of a
Yeah,
benefit.
you know, this sure would excuse you, right?
But I kind of tend to try to stay like on a street, this way.
Yep.
If I'm on this side of the aisle in the ballpark, then get out of my way.
You see me coming. You walk your dog, don't you?
Yeah, I
Every
do.
morning?
Yeah, a couple times a day, in the morning and afternoon.
That's cool.
I had to kind of learn how to walk it being in the chair, because in the beginning I ran over his toe a couple times.
You know his toe. And now, you and I running around the city of Worcester.
Yeah,
And I tell you all the time, you're my hands, because, I'm working on it.
yeah.
And we've been two of a kind since spring.
That was a
Right.
fun time.
That is. Real quick before we wrap up, what are you doing now? Like, what things are you into now?
Just trying to get some affordable housing, accessible affordable housing.
Oh, we'll talk more about that.
Sounds good.
All right. And we need supporters out there. So join us in this fight. All right. And it's not a fight, it's a negotiation. We just need a little bit.
Until it becomes a fight.
He likes to fight. All right, Jay.
Be respectful towards one another. And don't look at somebody that has a disability as having a disability. They're just the same people as you.
All right. I got you. Peace.
This is all about me. This is all about you.